Like the Roman Empire, when any group seems to be at their peak of popularity, they fall. If you've read the title, then you know this video is about the fall of the anti-SJW community. But before we get into that, I need to talk about the rise of the anti-SJW community and what the term SJW actually means. SJW stands for Social Justice Warrior, and just like the terms racist, sexist, homophobic, before it was nothing but an insult, it actually meant something. While the term SJW doesn't have a universally agreed upon definition for it, for me it was someone who was so engulfed in their social justice that they fought like a warrior, more willing to physically attack or destroy someone's career by texting their boss and trying to get them fired.
Jim, what's the meaning of this? I didn't even do anything, boss. What did I do? Well, your friend texted me something about being bad. What did you do? I didn't do shit. Well, clearly your friend said you stole a whole bag of candies from children. What? You're fired.
Then actually having a conversation with someone and trying to get them to change sides. Understandably, this eventually created the anti-SJW community. Now, the anti-SJW community can also be referred to as the skeptic community, the anti-feminist community, or many other things. So now that I explained what an anti-SJW is, I'm going to go through the rise of the anti-SJW community. It all started with YouTube Atheist. No, I'm not joking. There were several right-wing Christians on and off YouTube, talking about how abortion is murder, gay marriage is evil, and many other things like that. To support their arguments, they cherry-picked examples from the Bible. Because of how big they were and how much influence they held, the YouTube Atheist primarily went after right-wing Christians. Yes, from time to time they would go after Islam or a left-wing Christian, but they mostly talked about the right-wing Christians. Needless to say, this made pretty much their entire fan base left-wing. And then, Atheism Plus happened. Atheism Plus was more interested in pushing identity politics than it was talking about science. This led to a lot of YouTube scientists quitting and getting replaced by, people who didn't know the most basic things about science. If you didn't fall in line with the politics of Atheism Plus, they would do whatever it took to destroy you. Even Richard Dawkins wasn't safe. Like when he made a tweet comparing Islam to feminism. And he wasn't mean in his tweet at all. He even used the #NotAllFeminist argument. And eventually this led to YouTube Atheist, like The Amazing Atheist and Thunderfoot, talking about the far left wing instead of the far right wing. So as much as people like to pretend that YouTube Atheists just got bored of talking about Christians, and then they started talking about the far left wings such as feminism, the YouTube Atheists did not start the fight. The identity politics of the far left wing caused the YouTube Atheists to turn against them. What causes most people to turn against feminism and other groups of identity politics is themselves. You see, all identity politics, not just feminism, has a habit of injecting itself into pretty much anything ever. Feminist identity politics propaganda was injected into schools, TV shows, Netflix shows, YouTube videos, even the brony analyst community. It seemed that nothing was safe from feminism, but their biggest mistake was going after gaming.
Jesus Christ!
Specifically, gaming journalism. Feminists such as Anita Sarkeesian made videos about how women were portrayed in gaming. Her videos had a few contradictions and a lot of blatant misinformation, but no one could call her out on anything because if they did, they were called sexist and some were even blacklisted. And the gaming journalists were totally on her side. This caused the creation of Gamergate, which was pretty small when it first started out, but then the gaming journalists freaked out about them and Gamergate became huge. The left wing had a lot of control over media outlets, such as most news organizations, and the ones they didn't have, like Fox News, were laughingstocks. But they also controlled a lot of social media outlets, such as Twitter and Facebook. But there was one thing they weren't counting on: YouTube, which a lot of people consider to be right-wing. Why? Because it's one of the very few places you can share an opinion which is slightly to the right of Antifa without getting banned. It's funny how when people are growing up, they're constantly exposed to left-wing politics in school and in the media, but as soon as they hear something that's not left-wing on YouTube, suddenly it's brainwashing! The YouTube atheists and the YouTube gamers made up the bulk of the anti-SJW community. And the YouTube atheist, also known as the YouTube skeptic community, learned a valuable lesson. While it's fun to constantly talk about the stupid politics of one side, you should always be wary of the politics on the other side of the political spectrum. Otherwise, one day they might get too much power and turn against you. And the YouTube atheist community would never let something like that happen ever again, right? Well, now that we talked about the rise of the anti-SJW community, we will be talking about the fall of the anti-SJW community. Oh, and when I use the term fall, I don't mean the community is dead. The community is still alive, it's just not as great as it used to be, because it's fallen from where it used to be. The anti-SJW community on YouTube was at its height between 2013 and 2018. So what caused their downfall? Well, a few things actually. One was infighting. For example, Atheism is Unstoppable started doxing people. Needless to say, this made many people upset. But they weren't just upset with Atheism is Unstoppable for doxing people, they were mad at pretty much anyone for collaborating with him, such as when the Amazing Atheist did a collab with him. Atheism is Unstoppable was mostly called out by Naked Ape and Crowd and T. You may think that Crowd and Ape would be the best of friends since they called out the same guy, but you would be very wrong. Naked Ape became pretty far right-wing and admitted to being an actual racist. Meanwhile, Crowd and T decided to wage a holy war against the alt-right, and him and Naked Ape got in a pretty heated debate, which had one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life. Eventually, Crowd and T started doing some pretty underhanded things. He doxed the information of one of the members in the alt-right, but because he knew he would be in trouble if he released the dox, he tried to get other people to release it. He tried to get Sargon of Akkad involved with his holy war against the alt-right, and he got one of the members of the alt-right fired from their job. Now, I don't like the alt-right any more than most of you do, but doxing people, trying to get them fired, trying to get other people to publish the dox, and trying to get other people involved in your little holy war is quite scummy. Mr. Medicare made a long series detailing everything he has done. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. Speaking of Mr. Medicare, he also exposed Monday Matt on a live stream for flagging videos down, and possibly getting another anti-SJW, Harmful Opinions, banned off YouTube. The reason why people hated SJW so much was not just because of their far-left opinions, but because there was no disagreeing with them. They would try to get you fired, get you blacklisted, try to dox you, and many other things. But now a few anti-SJWs were acting just like the people they were criticizing. There were also infighting between some of the bigger members, such as Sargon of Akkad and Thunderfoot, which caused Thunderfoot to leave the community and went back to making videos about science. Sargon of Akkad, on the other hand, went a little bit crazy, even trying to win the election in England. Most anti-SJWs, like myself, don't really take their channels too seriously. But Sargon of Akkad really acted like he thought he was the king of the North. It should be noted that Atheism is Unstoppable, Crowd and T, and Mundane Matt were some of the biggest members in the anti-SJW community. Mundane Matt was one of the main people who kicked off Gamergate, and Crowd and T was considered to be one of the smartest anti-SJWs. Many people said he was the second smartest, right behind Teal Deer. All three of them had tens of thousands of subscribers. And what they have now is not even what they used to have, but after the backlash they lost quite a few. But Sargon of Akkad is one of the top 5 biggest anti-SJWs. I'm not going to go over the mistakes Sargon of Akkad has made because it's just a bunch of small things, and none of his mistakes are as major as the mistakes the other three have made. And while many people have turned against Sargon of Akkad, he still holds a lot of respect. Sargon of Akkad, to me, really hasn't fallen from grace, yet. He just takes himself a bit too seriously. But Sargon of Akkad's political campaign is complete dog shit. But Sargon of Akkad, Blair White, and many other big anti-SJW channels have allied themselves with right-wing personalities. And this to me is the most major reason why the anti-SJW community has fallen. Right-wing personalities like Milo Yiannopoulos, Louder with Crowder, Ben Shapiro, and many others now make up about half the big anti-SJW personalities. The anti-SJW community is now too right-wing for a lot of people. The only ones I still watch are Shoe on Head, Armored Skeptic, and Chris Reagan. Also Seamus from Freedom Tunes from time to time. No, the anti-SJW community is not dead. It's just not as great as it used to be. But maybe, if we put in a lot of hard work, we can make the anti-SJW community great again. You guys may have noticed I almost never make political content anymore. I'm just sick of the whole culture war. I almost didn't even upload my video on Riley Dennis. I only uploaded it because my computer deleted the video I was working on. I might come back to political content one day, but for now I just need a break from all of it. There are some smaller things I didn't cover, like the whole Candid situation. I just wanted to talk about the more major stuff. I also didn't talk about the stuff No Bullshit has done, mainly because I already did a video about it. And we possibly don't even need anti-SJWs anymore. And other far left-leaning organizations like Feminist Frequency are laying off more and more people every single day. Eventually, they'll be completely gone. And let's not forget about the whole get woke, go broke. Less and less organizations are pandering to the far left. They've lost most of their power. Many people have asked me if I regret my anti-SJW videos, and the answer is, for the most part, no. I still stand behind most of the things I have said. I just wish I worded some of my points better. I jumped off the anti-SJW bandwagon before it started sinking into the mud. There are still other anti-SJWs I would like to cover, such as Maddox, but they'll get their own video. Until then, see you guys next time. My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just a robot marches on.